what is going to be the role of United Nations in the global governance? Whether or not UN can be a core of global governance in 21st century. It's amazing 20 years already have passed since the beginning of 21st century. And the answer to that question was actually, it depends on how we deal with the UN system. There's no clear answer. We know that there are certain limits to the United Nations system. UN is not the world government in any sense. We're living in nation-state system, which is, we respect national sovereignty, and there's no hierarchy in international society. But we know that there are serious challenges to that system. That means we need to create the new form of global governance in responding to the new challenges of 21st century. But we have not created any since I started thinking about this issue. So the question still remains the same, whether or not the UN can be a core of global governance. But there is a certain progress, a certain positive development surrounding the activities of the United Nations. And particularly the more contributions of the civil societies in the work of the United Nations. When you compare what is happening now to what is happening 30 years ago, I have seen the more active participation of civil societies. These days, UN cannot operate properly without the help of participation of the NGOs. So there is a progress, but on the other hand, if you think of the new issues such as climate change and the pandemic issues, now COVID-19 is another case, and digital divide, we have not been very successful. So we still have a long way to go. And the key word, as I've written in my slide, the important elements of global governance are diversity, autonomy, participation, and bottom-up process. I don't know how you could understand this, but basically, even if we're living in nation-state system, we have to understand there are diverse actors, the NGOs, individuals, and other private sectors, etc. They need to autonomously participate in the process of the global governance. I think there is a very important process, and also bottom-up process of norm making is critical now and in the future. So, if you think of global norms that we have now, institutions like IMF, WTO, United Nations, how much do you contribute to creating those institutions and norms of global society? Maybe nothing. The strong state, dominant states, such as United Nations and United States, Great Britain, France, particularly right after the end of Second World War, they all created these institutions. Then sometimes there's a gap between the norms of global institutions and the practices that we're facing. So in order to narrow the gap, in order to create proper institutions and norms, there are more participations of diverse actors are required. So that's the ideal form of global governance in 21st century. And then the question is how the United Nations can help the development of those global governance. So that's in the hands of your the capacity in the future.